Spoilers ahead for M3gan 2023. A robotics engineer at a toy company builds a lifelike doll that begins to take on a life of its own. Starring Allison Williams, Violet McGraw, and Ronnie Cheng.
That thing is not lifelike at all. Not even a little bit.
In its face, no. But it's like a real girl under there.
Like, it looks like someone hollowed out one of those real doll things that, like, the perverts use and, like, just stuffed it onto R2-D2.
Oh, yeah, this is... And they were planning on mass producing these in this movie. It is definitely going to be used for sexual activities. There's no doubt about it.
Like, the thing that really bothered me at the beginning was like, oh, we had this AI. We're going to sell it to the military or, like, I don't know, have our jets in the future start going. But no. We're going to use it for therapy for children. This experimental AI.
Yeah, this is Chucky meets The Orphan. You ever see that movie?
I don't think so, no.
It's about a Russian girl with, like, still looks like a child. She's an adult, but everyone thinks she's a child, and she starts killing everybody.
That's right. And she has like a thing around her neck, and she wears like a bunch of makeup to pretend to look like a kid.
Yes.
I have seen that.
Yeah. That's
that movie's
this
better than
plus
this one.
Chucky. Oh, yeah. The very beginning of the movie, I'm like, are we getting ads in the beginning of a movie now? We had the Universal Pictures opening graphic, and then it jumps right into an ad. It's an absolutely ridiculous ad.
Yeah, they basically have like a demon Furby.
That's all I could think of was fucking Furbies.
They have a Furby that you can feed food to, and then it spits out like poop. Like, remember the dolls they probably still have them. I just haven't, been of that age in a while. But like, they had like dolls you could like feed milk to, and then they would wet a diaper.
Oh.
Yeah, they had a diaper. They had a doll you had to change. And so they're like, hey, let's take that idea and make a Furby that shits.
Yeah, and you called them demon Furbies. I would argue that Furbies are already demons. Everyone was afraid of them back in the day. What is this nightmare?
You're not wrong. You're not
nightmare
wrong.
Fucking bird thing. Were they all birds? Or were some of them gremlins and shit? I don't even remember.
Yeah, I think they're birds.
Okay.
Let us know in the comment where you put Furbies on the what do they call it, the animal table or whatever.
On the the nutritional pyramid thing. What is that called?
The food pyramid.
Yeah. Where do you put Furbies on the food pyramid?
2 servings a day of Misa Sleepy.
Those things were like the biggest craze back then. So the whole premise for this is the main girl, Katie, her parents die. They're going on a skiing trip, and now she has to go and live with her aunt. And her aunt is a robotics engineer or some sort of fucking asshole who's going to cause the end of the world.
Yes. She does product design, robotics, and she is the first person to make AI.
Did we learn nothing from Terminator 2?
Yeah, so I mean, suck on that. Literally billions of dollars of money being flowed through the entire defense industry across every nation in the world. This chick who made weird Furbies has beaten you to the punch.
Yeah, her massive team of 3.
Yeah, listen, there's no way those other 2 people helped her with the AI. That was
I love how she gets all of the credit. She's fucking Steve Jobs. She gets all the credit, and everyone else is just sitting there.
Actually, that's what we don't see. There's like actually a code room with just like millions of people on really just not great visa status coding this thing.
We literally never see her 2 partners outside of the facility, and she gets all of the credit. She has a life, things she can do, and they have to stay in there all day. When they first show the facility, which Allison Williams' character works, they're showing like all the different toys and things and product testing, and I just got a pretty good kick out of there's like this nerd. There's kids playing with a toy. There's this nerd standing next to him, like, oh, writing down on a clipboard how kids interact with toys because he's an emotionless, dead inside robot man.
I didn't read into the nerd that much.
He's just like, oh, this is how it works.
I think that accident was well done. Like, my note here says fake crash ? It didn't look like a good car crash. Remember that Allstate commercial? That's a good car crash. This one made me think they were doing like a fake car crash because, I don't know, the AI was dreaming or something.
Apparently they were either driving down the wrong side of the road or the snowplow was just
Yeah, that snowplow was trucking. Yeah, that's it. The snowplow was like going so fast. The snowplow can't go that fast, can it? Like
Right.
I'm from, you can tell by the way I talk, I'm from the land that we don't have snowplows. If it snows, you just wait it out because it's gonna melt right away.
Right. Snowplows can they can go on the highway and they'll go about 50, but they don't. They go on the highway and they're going 30 because,
There's
it's too
snow in the,
dangerous. Yeah.
I mean, like they can't go like impassable conditions. That thing's not going like 30 miles an hour though, is it?
No, not typically. Especially on a shitty road where you can't see anything.
Yeah, they're not going to go fast enough to, pancake an SUV. Like they're not in a smart car with like the airbags taken out. Like they're
Plot twist, Megan was in the driver's seat.
well, you see, what happens is 5 years before, there's a Chucky was sent back in time to make sure that Megan is made. The humans send, but then a human sends his dad back to bang his mom.
And he takes credit for writing Staying Alive by the Bee Gees.
If I had a time machine, I would take credit for all the good music. Why did this guy named Jeremy write that write that song in Dolly Parton style? Listen, I don't care. Rihanna's got to pay me for the remake though.
He wrote Till I Collapse and
Yeah.
and On the Other Hand by Randy Travis. Like, wait.
He wrote Gangster's Paradise and Amish Paradise.
So we meet Allison Williams' boss, and I can't take him seriously. If my boss had a speech impediment, there's no way that I could take anything seriously when he's yelling at me. You can't, if someone's yelling at you and he sounds like a Furby, it's probably not that intimidating.
Wait, who sounded like a Furby?
The boss.
I thought that was just his accent. Are you sure that's a speech impediment?
Yeah.
Oh.
The dude's from New Jersey or something.
Yeah, I mean, honestly.
This movie has a lot of classic tropes to it. I don't know if exactly they're good or not, but Allison Williams' character is taking on this new kid, and she kind of has a museum of a house where everything's just neatly in its place. So when you drop this kid in there, everything's all of a sudden a mess. Mm-hmm. Even though she's 12, if it was a baby, I could see,
I didn't really read that into the situation. So she shows up, she picks up the first thing, no, it's not a toy, it's a collectible. And the kid's confused, what? But it is a toy.
Yeah.
The whole movie acts like no one knows what a collectible is. And the therapist was, that therapist was being a pain in the ass. You're like, what? You can't play with the toys? Yeah, it's a collectible. It's expensive. I went on Amazon for 2-day shipping. There's 50 toys coming tomorrow. Calm your tits, lady.
Yeah, let's
go
to
the. If it was that big a deal, they should have stopped by Toys R Us on the way there, or Walmart, or Target. I don't know what toy store is open. I think Toys R Us is closed.
Yeah, let's go to the therapist's house, and we'll open all her china that she has in that case, and we'll all just eat SpaghettiOs on it. You think she'd like that shit?
Okay, so these are 2 or 3 minor scenes. Mm-hmm. Well, no, that's probably 3 or 4 scenes that are pretty minor, but it's why is this in the movie? It's a very reasonable thing that can be circumvented by just literally going to Walmart. Is this in California? We're not allowed to have Walmart? Couldn't they go to their house? I know the car crashed. But was it also a U-Haul filled with everything she owned? She should have the stuff from her house. Did the house burn? Did that snowplow also drive over their house? What's going on here?
Well, you see, after Megan killed her parents, she went to the house
and burned it down.
Yeah. Did you find that the sister was very upset that the main lady was very upset that her sister died? They don't spend any time on that. I wasn't even sure which one of the parents was her sibling. That's how little time they spend with her connection with her family. They do mention it at one point, but for the most part, I'm just did it even matter to this woman?
I mean, it barely mattered to the kid.
True.
Every scene where she was sad about her parents had Megan in it too. If I'm remembering correctly, none of my notes say none of my notes are about the little girl's reaction to anything except Megan. She's a blank slate. She tries to pick up one toy, is confused what a collectible is. The therapist talks for her, and then Megan shows up and starts singing. So like that's the character development for the entire movie, because the rest of it's just, I like Megan. Oh no, now she's trying to kill me.
And I found that every time that she sang, it just reminded me of like a creepy Disney ride.
Yes, that's what they were going for, and it threw me out of the movie. Like, why is everyone acting like this isn't a horror movie? That would be like if you went to, that'd be like, let's say the next Jason movie happens in France.
Mm-hmm.
And so this couple comes up, and Jason's there on a boat, like ready to gondola them around.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, look at that guy in the mask. Hello, sir. Like, everyone knows who Jason is. What's going on here? Hello, good sir. Can you hold my knife while I tie my shoes? It's like everyone's just fine leaving this doll with a little kid. And I'm like, kill it with fire.
Right.
You've got the self-learning computer, and no one has seen, like you said, no one has seen The Matrix, even though everyone has. I mean, actually, The Matrix does work too, but mostly Terminator.
There's one note that I have that says, and I quote, "You motherfuckers are so interested in robots. This is the shit that happens." Nobody has any sort of fail-safe for this thing.
Nope. It
like
just
all
wanders
these
around.
nerds, yes, there's no worst case scenario beta testing or anything that they could have in their heads. Like, what if this thing goes off the rails? It's made of titanium.
It's the titanium, the super powered titanium thing that has internet access. Like, also, why would you want the first generation of AI to learn from the internet? That's the one place you don't want. I mean, really, people shouldn't be on the internet.
Yeah, look at our children.
I mean, Wikipedia is one thing, but like, it's got the whole internet. I think it manages to connect to the Alexa thing. I don't want the first AI to be programmed by Amazon.
Especially where she can access the internet enough to where she can learn C++ coding, rewrite her own files, and then deny you access.
Which is what she does. Like, oh, I'm my own primary user now. Like,
yeah.
What's the motivation for the robot now? Like, for the entire movie, the motivation for Megan was to protect the kid. And then in one, she's like, oh, actually, it's all about me now. I'm like, well, that was a big change. There's a thought experiment about like a machine that's made about an AI that's given the director to make as many paper clips as possible. And so it sits there and thinks for a minute, and then it like takes over the world government and destroys the world and turns the entire solar system into paper clips, and everyone dies. Because you have a thing that's programmed and it just does its program. Like, you leave a blender on, it just fucking runs. If the blender runs into like a human's hand, it keeps running because all it does is run. So if you made something that has that same, it doesn't have any judgment. It just does what it's programmed to do. Like a refrigerator thermostat goes off when the temperature gets above, 38 degrees or whatever. And then it cools it down to 32 and it goes back and it bounces between there. There's no judgment in there, even though it is responding to stimuli. So like, I thought maybe they were going to do that, but no, it just became evil all at once. This is not a good AI movie. I don't know if it's a good horror movie. Probably not. I wasn't scared. But it's not a good AI movie.
No, and they do one jump scare, and all the rest is pretty predictable. So there's a next door neighbor that has a dog that keeps getting free, and the next door neighbor is extremely nonchalant about it, and the dog starts fucking up Megan and bites on the little girl. Uh-huh.
Okay, but answer me this question though: why didn't she plug the hole in the fence?
That's a good question.
There's literally a dog-shaped hole, even though there's no front fence. The dog can just walk to the street and then down the sidewalk and into your house. But you still should fix the fence.
So yeah, Megan's rebelling, obviously. She starts to reprogram herself. And I guess since there's no fail safes, they don't even have like an EMP or like a defibrillator or something that might, fry this thing's circuits, and nothing. There's no possibility in these people's minds of what if the robot starts to think for itself and it starts to see like the problems with the human race and then starts killing everyone. Oh, you need to be replaced. No thoughts. But she ends up killing the dog because the dog bit the girl. I guess we never mentioned that Allison Williams' character gives Megan one objective, and that's to protect the niece. There's one scene where she kills some kid. They're at like this weird one-day camping picnic thing.
Yeah, where the kids wander off in the woods by themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, with people they've never met before.
Is that what they do? anywhere ever. Like, I'm pretty sure I heard about a woman getting arrested because her kids walk to school alone.
Right.
But like these kids go off in the woods and see if there's a bear out there.
The grabber from the black phone should have moved to Seattle instead. He would have been. It had a fucking gold mine.
That base would just have like 40 kids in there. It's like, what are all these fucking kids?
It's like, man, I gotta turn this back. Maybe I have a problem.
Hey, is that what a robot?
Yeah. The entire bully scene, which is they pair Katie with this weird kid who's like, I don't know, I guess he's like 13. How old would you guess Katie was? Like 9 or 10?
Yeah, probably 9 or 10. Maybe she's 15. I don't fucking know.
Yeah. Why doesn't she drive herself to these places? Jesus. But the entire bully scene is basically in the trailer. So if you've seen the trailer, you've seen the scene. She fucking chases the kid on all fours through the woods and
rips his ear off.
Yeah. I thought, so I'm like, okay, this kid's a little bit older. He's hitting puberty a little sooner. I thought he was going to try and see if it actually was a sex doll when he takes. Did you get that at all? Or
yeah, I mean, because he messed with like the doll's legs or whatever in a really weird way. It's like they recorded that and then they edited it out.
He starts to take the shoe off and then it's like, oh, this is weird. So Megan kills the bully, the dog, and the neighbor in no particular order. How does she kill the neighbor exactly? Was that like pesticide or something she was spraying on her?
No, that lady's just allergic to water.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, she just sprays her with a garden hose and then she dies.
Yeah. It was like one of those power washer things, but even so, did she drown? Like, so the lady blames Allison Williams for the dog's disappearance because the dog disappears like one day after Katie's bitten. So the dog's gone. The neighbor is all over her, and she keeps, blaming her for it and all that stuff. Megan then kills the neighbor, and the cops show up, and they're like, oh, we can't really talk to the neighbor because she's dead. No idea of how, like, they're already bagging her up in the body bag. The way that she died needed to be shown because clearly foul play, but nobody's being, like, you didn't even question her about it,
Know anything about this? No. Well, all right then. Another unsolved case here in Portland. We'll never. These masterminds with their garden hose of poison. Is that like the Tide Pod garden hose? Like, I don't know. Would a pesticide? Like, what pesticide could you die from just being sprayed with?
That would be like some sort of poison, right?
Yeah, something that makes you asphyxiate, I guess. But like, she did a whole bunch of yelling for someone that was asphyxiating. I think it was like kryptonite. Like, it makes me lay down and itch for a bit. Like, you're never really sure how kryptonite affects Superman. Like, he's not bleeding. He's just like he has to take a little nap.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, so she sprays her with the human kryptonite.
And at this point, they're still trying to mass produce these Megan dolls, and nobody stops to think, maybe at this point, we got a lot of red flags. Maybe we should at least slow production or, before we put all this stuff online, because they're like days from release at this point.
Yeah, so the lead designer is like, oh, I think she's killing people. And her boss is like, what? No, what are you talking about? Megan kills him for what reason?
I don't know. You'd think you'd want the guy who was going to push production forward to make more of you.
Yeah, I mean, she becomes very counterproductive. The only thing I can think, like, I thought she was going to start killing people because she didn't want, because like the niece is used in a bunch of commercials. Let's be honest, it's terrible parenting. Like, you go through that horrific accident where Sonic was driving a snowplow down the road. Then you get moved in this place. This woman refuses to order a toy for you on Amazon. And then she gives you a demon robot that starts singing to you. And now you're being forced to record TV commercials. I mean, let's be honest. Megan kind of has a point when she goes on a murder spree. But she doesn't actually explain, like, why she's killing any of them. Because yeah, she would want more Megans around to fulfill her duty of, whatever she needs to do.
Another thing I felt really bad for in this movie is the parents of whenever this thing goes to market, how many parents, these are $10,000 robot things. How many of these parents are going to have to do financing for either their credit cards or it's going to be like a dealership. As soon as these come out, each company's going to have their own. and you're gonna have to sit down with a dude in a suit at a fucking dealership, and and pretty much, you're gonna be paying $260 a month for the next 20 months or whatever.
I mean, yeah, this is a used car price right there. Like
Yep.
they never explain what the market is, but this is obviously a nanny like robot thing. So like instead of like paying for daycare,
Oh,
like now,
sure.
yeah, you have this thing instead of like daycare or a nanny, or like you want to work from home, but the kids are always screaming. Well, now we have this thing that can like help them build a pillow for it.
That's actually quite good because I hear daycare is extremely expensive. So my next note is never trust a guy in a turtleneck. They they show the main guy and he's got a suit jacket on with just the highest turtleneck you've ever seen, trying to hawk these things off. And I can't imagine dropping 10 grand on a doll.
So a doll, like a toy for 10,000, is insane.
Yeah.
But also like the fact that they have revolutionary AI and it's only 10 grand is even more insane.
Yeah.
That's like, hey, we have this toy car. It costs $20,000. Wow, that's a lot of money, but it can go to Mars. Wait, what for 20,000? What are you talking about? How can you get to Mars for 20,000? I'm really good at designing toys, so I made a toy that can go to Mars. Why was everyone looking at me like that? It's a whole lot for a toy rocket, but also a toy rocket shouldn't go to Mars. And I'm pretty sure that we'll be on Mars before we have like real AI.
Well, Allison Williams figures out that Megan is behind most of it. Actually, she's not positive, but she's kind of sure. The dog disappears, everyone else disappears, and she's like, "Yeah, I think it might be."
Yeah, because the robot's becoming aggressive. It's like, hey, Kelly, you're kind of fucking up everything. So why don't you stay out of my way while I run shit? Like Megan kind of turns into a mean girl.
And when Allison Williams tries to turn her off, she won't. All kinds of red flags that they did not prepare for whatsoever. Megan is taken back to the facility. She's tied up, kinda, and they don't latch the wrist because why? It's possible that this doll has been killing people, but I don't think we really need to tie it up, right? Like, that's fine.
Yeah, just leave the batteries in there.
Yeah. The first thing you have to do is take off the head. But, so it breaks out. It doesn't kill either of the two. I thought both of them were going to die, but the two lab assistants, and with the lamest explosion ever. It seems like there's going to be a massive explosion blowing up the lab, but it's a diversion. Yeah. And Megan goes and kills the CEO of the company and blames it on this guy who was his assistant, who's been stealing the information about the Megan doll. So there's going to be a sequel where his information actually got out and they just recreate Megan.
So is the sequel going to be like spelled MEG4N?
Yes. So at the end is as predictable as you can be. It's the final stand at the house, and it's exactly as you're thinking of it right now. So opening weekend for Megan on January 6th, $30.4 million. Holy shit. Total box office, domestic, $36.8 million, internationally, $17.8 million, for a total of $54.7 million, which is really good for, I guess I'll call it a B horror movie.
Like I said, there's no competition in there. It's like, you want to go see a movie? Well, you can either watch Megan or you can go and rewatch Avatar. I don't know.
I would rather watch Megan twice in a row than Avatar once. 100%. Like, fuck Avatar. So we have IMDb 9.5 thousand plus ratings for a 6.7 out of 10. Where do you sit?
I gotta give it like, I don't know, 5 out of 10. Like the movie like really annoyed me. But part of the problem is that AI is one of my is one of like my hobby horses. I will watch any AI movie and then tell you how much I hate it. If I like one, I really like it.
6.5 if I didn't already say. But yeah, that sounds good. Coming soon, I think we're gonna do iRobot. That's a pretty good one. That one's a lot of fun.
And what was that other one called? Wolf's Eye?
Eagle Eye. All right, so I think that'll do it for us. So coming soon, we have, I don't know, a bunch of stuff. All right, so on that note, we will catch you guys later.
Later.